we do a trans-vag. Okay? When we do a trans-vag. I want a black one. Do we have any black ones? Okay. So here's my screen. Okay? Here's my screen. This is the left. This is the right. Okay? So if I'm transvaginal, not transabdominal, transvaginal, this is superior. No. This is inferior, superior, anterior, posterior. Okay? So when we see it, it's going to come like this. This is my bladder. Okay? Here's my rectum. Okay? So it's going to be top left screen. Okay? Now with first trimester, you want a full bladder. Okay? You want a full bladder. This is not a full bladder. Okay? This is a full bladder. Some facilities, like Harris Health System, we used to drink the patients to make sure they had a full bladder. But now we do a transvaginal on everybody. So we don't need that full bladder. We just take what they've got and we take those images. Because what's going to be the first thing that I see is a gestational sac that has 3 names. A gestational sac, an extra embryonic coleum, and a chorionic sac. Those are the 3 names that you're going to see. Now, I can see this. It's anechoic. When I see a yolk sac, it's going to be on a stalk, and it's going to be a little round circle inside of there. That's called a yolk sac. That tells me that we have a viable IUP. That tells me that we have a viable IUP. Okay. There's my yolk sac. Okay. So how do I measure this? Sagittal. Height. Is that spelled right?
Yep.
Okay. And then I'm going to turn transverse on it.
It's active.
And it's going to look like this. Okay? And then the width. Just like I do a regular pelvic exam. Okay? I'm going to take all 3 measurements. But I'm also going to measure
The sac.
my gestational sac, and I'm gonna measure the yolk sac. Okay? I'm gonna measure the yolk sac. So just from this one image, I could do this is the semester where we do sagittal on this side of the screen. Here's sagittal, and this is transverse. So that way all the measurements are on one frame for the radiologist. It's going to be a lot easier for them to read all of these measurements that we're giving them if it's on one image. Okay? So I'm going to measure the uterus. I'm going to measure the gestational sac. I'm going to measure the yolk sac. Then I'm going to go to my ovaries. I'm going to do my right ovary. I'm going to do my left ovary. But then there's going to be one more thing that we're going to look at, And what is that?
Or annexed.
Huh? Yeah, but we're on the ovaries right now. What is it? Nope. You're close. The corpus luteum. Okay? The corpus luteum. So this is 3 measurements. This is 3 measurements. This is 3 measurements with and without color. Okay? This is with and without color. This is with and without color. This is with and without color. Okay?
I'm sorry, again, why are we measuring the corpus luteum again?
Why? Because that's going to help us determine the gestational age of this.
I didn't know that.
Okay? Because if there's not a corpus luteum, what's going to happen? The baby will abort. Okay? Because what does the corpus luteum do? It acts as the placenta until the placenta takes over. So if I don't have a corpus luteum, then my embryo will fail to thrive. It's not getting any nutrients. It's not getting rid of the waste. Okay? Okay. So we've already been over first trimester. Any questions? Y'all understand what needs to be done for a first trimester? On a first trimester, we do trans-abdominal, and we always, unless the patient declines it, we always do a transvaginal. Okay? Because we see everything a little bit better. It's a higher frequency. We're closer to the object, so we're going to be able to see that a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to treat it just like a pelvic exam, and y'all all know the protocol for a pelvic exam now. Okay, it's a pelvic exam plus gestational sac, yolk sac,
and
heart rate. You have to do a heart rate. And corpus luteum. There's only 4 extra images that we do, or 4 extra organs that we do. Okay? Now, y'all remember what ALARA stands for?
As low as response.
Okay. Do not put more energy onto this fetus than is necessary. Because they don't know. Now they're trying to blame all the ultrasounds that are being done on autism. I'm even hearing that. You know, because nowadays, how many autistic children, you hear it in the news every single day. In my day and time, you never heard of autism.
I heard it was 1 in every 100.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
But they used to be ADHD, not everybody's autism. Are they
Yeah, it's either ADHD or autism, you know, because ADHD is part of the autism spectrum. It's part of the spectrum. Yeah, so when they do a workup on a child that has, they think is autistic, that's usually one of the diagnoses that they have.
Wow, really?
Mhm.
I work with autism.
Yeah. Okay, so now what we teach you and what we have in the lab is 2D. They even have 3D and they have 4D. 4D is absolutely amazing. You can actually see the pores on the face. Okay, that's beyond my knowledge. But basically, it's a reconstructive of the plane that you're in, where it sees all the way around it. It's physics. Okay, get as much experience in that as you can in the clinical settings. I think LBJ uses it on every gyn patient, from what I understand. Okay, so try to get that experience while you can, because you won't get it here in the lab. Okay. So, when were,
I think the slide was cut off.
what? Did it?
Yeah, it's got cut up on the top.
Oh, how come?
JD say we have to turn off and turn on a couple times.
Oh, okay. Is it everything?
No, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. Okay. You said turn it off
Yeah, turn it off and turn on.
and turn it back on? Okay. So the first thing that we're gonna do when we do a first trimester, we want to know their LMP. We want to know how many times they've been pregnant. We want to know how many times they've given birth. Do not say the word miscarriage to them. It's not politically correct. And if you say miscarriage or if you say abortion, they're going to deny it. Okay? Say, what I usually say, you've been pregnant 3 times, have you lost any children? Okay? So you're gonna listen to terminology in the clinical setting, and you're gonna adopt your own verbiage. Okay? Just try not to say abortions, because it is a very, very sensitive subject. Okay? So what we do is we write down their LMP, because the LMP goes from the first day of bleeding. That's your LMP, your first day of bleeding. Supposedly, uniformly, we go according to 28-day cycles. Some people don't have 28 cycles. Some people have more 28-day cycles. You know, they're added more or they're taken less. It depends on when the egg dropped, and in the United States, we go by the 28-day cycle. Okay? That's why ultrasound, we have a 2-week error that we can make, because we go by what the patient says. Now, in the first trimester, we're allowed a 10-day error. A 10-day error. The ultrasound is more definitive than what the patient says. Like, well, my LMP says that I'm only 4 weeks, but the ultrasound says that we're 6 weeks. We're gonna go by the 6 weeks. Because also in the first trimester, we do a measurement called the crown rump length. Okay? Now, whenever I have here's my yolk sac. My gestational sac. Okay? Here's my yolk sac. Okay? Right at the base of the yolk sac, I can measure that. It's usually around 2 millimeters. That tells me my due date. Okay? As the baby grows, now I have okay? Okay, as the baby's growing, okay, it's attached to the chorionic cavity by a yolk stalk. Okay? That's before the umbilical cord even starts forming. I'm going to measure this. That's called a crown rump length. Okay? Or CRL. Okay? This is done up until 13 weeks, 6 days. From usually it's around, the heart starts beating at 5.5. So we'll see a gestational sac at around 4 weeks, and then 13 weeks, 6 days. Okay? This is called it's called a conceptus. I think it's 10, might be 8. It's called an embryo. And 11 to 40, called a fetus. Okay?